Hello, hello, and welcome back to Scholastically Natalie, where we talk about books, writing, reading, D&D, and sometimes other things. We're returning back to planning Natalie's D&D campaign because I have like 15 notes I wrote for myself, and I need to do something with them. So, as weird as it sounds when I'm at work and I'm thinking about stuff, sorry, I write notes, I make lists, and then I keep them all with me and fold them up and put them in my pocket. So as you can hear, I have made some lists. Quite a few, actually. Because we have a couple interesting things going on with our party, and then when I've gotten some inspiration for what we're going to be doing next. So, I'm unfolding them. Clearly I did zero prep before I turned on this mic. Oh, right. So, right now the party is traveling into the desert in an attempt to track down a herd of goats that were taken from the dockmaster's wife in the town they started in. They all need money. So, I already did one of these notes, but so I have a plan. They just fought and killed 2 dire lions. And while I was thinking at work, I was like, oh, that would be so nifty if those were just the tail end of the pack of a pride of dire lions. Because honestly, they killed them pretty easily, which I did expect, because there's 5 of them and there were only 2 lions. So I was debating about having desert rules. I don't know if I want to or not. I don't know how much we want to focus on resource conservation. I've been listening to Icebound from Legends of Evantris. I finished Edge of Midnight, which was so good. I desperately want another season of it. It is so good. But I started Icebound, and it is amazing. Derek, I want to marry your beautiful, beautiful brain. But Icebound's a very survivalist, ice-centric campaign, which is ironically the exact opposite of where they're currently at, which is a desert, but they could have similar rules, survival checks, conservation of resources if I wanted to go into that. But I feel like I need to hint at it more so that they could prep appropriately. Because right now they don't have a ton. I think they have some tents, which is the most useful part, but I don't even know if they have enough rations. They might have some, and Icebound has much more complicated rules, so I feel like I could do some soft core desert rules. Like, I think I've let them all pick desert clothing, with the assumption that they know they're in the desert. And I think that either gives them advantage on, or they don't have to make environment checks. And I have found an interesting spell about making a place more temperate for the people within it for like 8 hours. So we could use environmental rules if we wanted to. I feel like I'd need to double check with my players if they want to take it more seriously. I have a more serious group of players who might be interested in that. I know some of them aren't interested in like conservation of resources and resource tracking, so I'm not sure if they'd want to. But we could do both a heat or chill rule for night. I'd have to double check what desert clothing is though, so this is just something I'm thinking about. But the one thing I know for sure, I want there to be a pride of dire lions up ahead, which is going to be pride of dire lions. I'm gonna start with 4 to 8. Start with 4 to 5. Add in depending on combat. Also, if you're one of my players, go away. So, as the party moves up ahead, further along the path you have chosen, you begin to see tracks of wheels as though a caravan or cart has passed through the area recently. We'll just make it a DC 10 to 12. Perception. Survival, nature. For another few hours, you don't see much else but the tracks. A few hours. There's no signs of anything but the tracks. Another DC 12 perception. Survival, nature reveals dire lion tracks. After noticing the dire lion tracks, or failing the check, party will see a shape on the horizon. I just spelled that so wrong. As they draw closer, they see it is horizontal and thrown across the path. In front of them is a great sword covered in blood with fang indents along the leather wrapped grip. This is a weapon for the barbarian. I gave them a whole bunch of different magical rewards recently. One of them ended up being extra damage for the monk. And now that I've given her something that useful, I would like to give everybody else something equally useful in combat. So I was running through a couple different options for them. Where did I put that list? There we go. So, since I basically gave the monk an extra dice of damage, I asked my barbarian if he'd rather essentially get the great weapon fighter feat, or if he'd rather get extra damage. And he voted for rerolling 1s and 2s, which I agree with because I also roll terribly sometimes on damage. So this is a +1 sword. Requires attunement. When this weapon is used, the attuned wielder may reroll 1s and 2s on their damage dice. The new roll must be used. And so they are going to get it off of this dead caravan guard, which I think makes sense for acquiring it. This guard is a mercenary. Val, who is our monk that is also a mercenary, can make a history check to know it's not going to be a hard one. DC 11 to see if they know this man. Okay. If fails, carries a different merc symbol than the most common ones. This seems to be from an underground group or a secret one. This means that this was a expensive or shady client. If succeeds, this man was a part of the mercenary group that Val started her training with. She did not interact with him as a direct subordinate, nor were they especially close, but he was familiar to her because he was very close with the assistant director of the company. I don't think it would be a director, would it be? The assistant, second in command of the company. Talking in corporate terms. Second in command. I typed the wrong thing again. Of the company. Oh, I have to name it, don't I? We'll just call them the Red Wolves. Val eventually wanted to take jobs further afield, but maintained a consultant status until this guild closed under shady circumstances due to the death of their commander. Many of the lower level members went to other guilds, but the higher ups seemed to vanish. Maybe they started a new guild. Symbol is that of a closed fist with cloth wrapped around the knuckles. We'll see if this even gets used. I don't know if Val will care. So, after that, this guard has been terribly mauled and is missing several chunks of flesh, courtesy of similar creatures to those that attacked the party. Once past the dead body, party finds much larger wreckage with movement coming from the inside. The carriage has a broken axle. How do you spell axle? Like that, I think. And is leaning to one side. There is leaping and bounding of paws upon wood, as it seems some of the lions are playing with something inside. Two lions are crouched over a smaller body, that of a woman, and gnawing on her arm. She seems to have possessed some sort of magic based on the acid splashes around her on the sand and the bits of glass mixed into it. If the party fights these lions and kills them, then investigates the wreckage, they will see hoof and footprints leading away from the battle. Some are dripping blood. If they follow these footprints, DC 14 for Dire Lion tracks. On top, they will find a dead goat. Dead goat with large bites taken out of it against the wall, against a small rock formation. The longer they take to follow / track. 1d4 out of 20 goats are dead. When they follow the tracks, they will find the goats and a human, well, and a high elf. Well, no, this one's going to be a human, and a human backed up against a rock formation. Person has a small fire burning every few feet toward the lions off, and the goats are all behind them. The goats are sheltered behind them. Behind them, bleeding anxiously. Okay. Those are my main notes. Okay, here is some setting notes. Stealing livestock is a death penalty in most rural areas, as you are condemning the person you stole it from to death. Okay. That's not what I'm looking for. Have some Lich notes. I'm still not sure if I like it or not. My other note is done. And then I have a feat that I would like to give to my cleric. Probably attached to something, but I don't know if she'd want a weapon or just an item, so I'll have to talk to her about that. But I think this is a good setup for our next time. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. Scholastically Natalie is out.